Between the shores of Dili and Arturo Island, you have extremely deep water, and that cavern is where the whales travel through. And that area connects directly to the shallow reefs in your water. So we feel it's essential to think about those deep reefs and to catalog what's down there to help provide a more comprehensive plan. Now, you are not alone in the world of not having resources to study that. The majority of ships, like the one we have, which allows depth, are present in the Northern Hemisphere and are present in very few countries in the world. So the majority of countries in the Southern Hemisphere, bar a few, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, and parts of South America, do not have vessels of this quality to go down and study. So that's why we provide the vessel for such operations around the world. So we designed the 2025 mission to spend as much time as possible in the deep sea, looking at these deep areas. So 4 questions shaped the mission. The mission was designed to build several layers of knowledge at the same time. First, mapping was needed to improve an understanding of the physical shape and structure of the seabed. And by mapping, what I mean is the ship has on the bottom of its hull sound transponders that send sonar signals to the bottom of the ocean. And with that, we can map a 3-dimensional contour of what's down there. So many areas of the waters that we were in have not been mapped. And that's the first step in marine spatial planning, is getting a very good map of that region. Now, I know in the south of the country, south of the EZ, there's been significant mapping done in the areas where there's petroleum resources. Less has been done close to shore, in the south, east, and in the north of the country. So we covered a significant portion, I don't know, we don't have the picture, significant portion of the northern part of the reef. And we'll talk a little bit more of that as the symposium goes on. So second, the expedition documented biodiversity across shallow, mesophotic, and deep habitats. This was especially important because deeper biodiversity in the region has received limited modern scientific attention. Unfortunately, the only way to go do that is to go down and visit it. There's really no way to do it with remote sensing or robots. You have to go down into the environment and work very slowly through these vast areas. So how much of the deep of Timor-Leste did we cover on the expedition? Probably less than 1%. Right? So there's ample space and room for more investigation. Now, we use models and AI, and we'll talk a little bit more about that, to try to map these areas and predict where else in your waters we might find that type of biodiversity for protection. And finally, the mission was also the pygmy blue whales migration. And I know that there is a lot of scientific expertise, even here in the audience, around those unique animals. And I can't stress enough, and I'm sure you're already aware, how unique and special those organisms are to the world, and how important they are, and how unusual it is to have them, and how lucky and special it is to have not only those pygmy blue whales, but we saw sperm whales, we saw a variety of other cetaceans. In my lifetime, in the 10, 15 years I've been working with OceanX, in all honesty, it was the most diverse cetacean, meaning whale-type animals, I've ever seen in my life. Yes, bravo. Oddly enough, the second place I've seen this is the Azores, another Portuguese-speaking place where there's a tremendous amount of cetaceans. But this was remarkable. From the helicopter view in that area, there were whales, there were dolphins, there was Brutus whale, all sorts of animals which we don't see that often. And enormous schools of dolphins in the water, which is a sign of a very healthy ecosystem, another sign of a healthy ecosystem. So all I can say is whatever you've been doing, it's great, keep doing it, and let's do more. Let's keep those animals around because the world loves them and needs them and wants them. And you know how valuable they are to both to the economy and to the essentially image of this. Now, they don't live here in your waters. They're passing through. But it's an important part of their track. So anything we can do to help that. And their feeding relates to upwellings and things that come from the deep water in your area. So it's essential that we continue to protect that. And we noticed that, for example, the animals are susceptible to attack by these strange little fish called cookie cutter sharks, which nobody's ever seen, but they're tiny animals that come and take little chunks out of your whales. Somewhere along the route, I don't know if it's here or where it is, but that's sort of a natural process. How that process may be changing with climate is an interesting question. We don't know that, but that's an interesting question of predation on those animals. So a key strength of the expedition was the ability to work across multiple depths and scientific disciplines on a single platform and at a single time. So the Ocean Explorer allows an opportunity to do that. So mapping came first. The ship at night will map a region, so we have a very good three-dimensional image of this area, providing a detailed picture of the seabed and helping teams identify features, for closer investigation. What I might add also is a sonar system on the vessel is a fisheries sonar. Fisheries sonar which looks at animals in the midwater. So there's a tremendous amount of data in those, that EK80 sounding information, which is now in the hands of your government to take a look at. A picture of the seabed helps us identify features for closer inspection, at which point we send down ROVs and crewed manned submersibles that could then descend to those sites, observe habitats directly, and collect targeted biological samples, which was tremendous in this case. So we have a tremendous amount of video data from those dives. We have 11 cameras on the ROVs, all of which capturing that landscape. Again, all of which is available, and all of which we will be applying AI-type image discrimination on to be able to classify and identify the distribution of animals in the deep ocean. This work also extended above the surface as boats, helicopters, and drones were used to locate and observe pygmy blue whales, document behavior, and collect biological material through non-invasive methods such as SnotBot. Together, these tools allowed different data sets to be connected about the same marine ecosystem at the same time. So, a snapshot of the mission. Believe it or not, it was only 13 days long, okay, of exploration. The mission generated a substantial new amount of scientific baseline for Timor-Leste. More than 5,153 square kilometers of seafloor were mapped, approximately 70% of which had not been previously mapped to this level of detail. That mapping and data is now in the hands of the government. That mapping provided a physical context for the deeper exploration and added significant existing knowledge to the seabed. Okay? The ROV and submersible spent more than 100 hours directly observing marine habitats, giving scientists the ability to document deep communities in place and target areas for closer inspection. Sorry, I'm talking too fast. Our poor interpreter is going to yell at me. I'll go slow. Across the biodiversity work, approximately 4,400 samples were collected for further taxonomic and genetic analysis. By the way, the determination of new species and these animals are collected can take years. So scientists will be studying this collection for probably the next 10 years and longer. These collections are being studied alongside imagery and tissue samples, creating a much more richer scientific record than specimen collection alone. And I would encourage, and this is extemporaneous on my behalf, Timor-Leste to develop, and students, this is maybe a good call out to you, develop your own national repository for the species and the organisms that live in your waters. Right now, there isn't a facility that's probably capable of receiving that many samples and maintaining them, but that should be something we should all work together to create so that the biodiversity and the learnings and the DNA and the genetic data are continuously held within the country. All the data is here, but it'd be nice to have a specimen database within the country. So I would encourage that as a future potential. Together, these outputs provide evidence base for the biodiversity, ecological, and genetic work now continuing after the expedition. So a lot of those specimens will be fully sequenced genetically, and that information will be available to scientists, academics, university professors within Timor-Leste to use to determine diversity, genetic spread, and things like that within the waters. Some of the analysis is already producing exciting observations, and I would encourage you to keep your eye on the publication stream that will come out of this expedition as time goes on. And it's just beginning. The expedition generated several different forms of scientific material, including mapping data, imagery, biological specimens, and genetic samples. Their value depends on how they are managed, accessed, and used after the field work. Full digital copies of the expedition data were provided to Timor-Leste institutions, including the Land and Maritime Boundaries Office, the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Livestock, and Forestry, the National University of Timor-Leste. Mapping data remains the subject of LMBO's review before wider public release. So all that data was given to the representative institutions here in Timor-Leste. And it is essentially up to you and your responsibility about what of that data you wish to release to the public. The biological collections followed a distributed research model. Specimens have been placed with institutions that have relevant taxometric expertise, while associated imagery and records are being made accessible online. This allows specialists internationally to study the material while maintaining the links between specimens, images, and genetic information and their place of origin, Timor-Leste. That work is already supporting species identification, DNA barcoding, and genomic analysis. Over time, These resources can also strengthen the future eDNA monitoring and provide reference material for further biodiversity research in Timor-Leste. So for those of you who are not familiar with the concept of eDNA, it's a kind of modern way of assessing biodiversity over time by collecting samples of soil and water and sequencing everything in there. And as animals and creatures move through the water column, they leave DNA behind. It's like a crime scene. What it allows us to do is to study diversity in the waters without touching any organisms. But we don't know what they are if we don't have a reference genome of those organisms. So the thousands of specimens that were collected have all been sequenced and are now part of a library that can be used for future management using eDNA techniques. So when you collect water out here now, you'll find that 30 to 40% of the organisms, eukaryotic organisms, are unknown. We've reduced that by about 3,500 organisms, at least, up to date, from the one expedition we've done. So future expeditions will hopefully increase that library of organisms that live within your water. And as Gustav said in his talk, there are literally tens of thousands of unnamed, unidentified organisms in your water at minimum. And these are larger organisms, not including smaller organisms. The mission, therefore, provides a baseline that can contribute to the growth as specimens are identified, sequences are completed, and future surveys add new information. The opportunity now is to determine which outputs are useful, what questions remain unanswered, and how future research can increasingly be shaped and undertaken with Timorese scientists and institutions. That is the really purpose of today, is to begin that. And I want to say that OceanX as an organization is committed to a continued relationship with the Timorese government, the university, and the people to help you in any way you need to build a scientific bedrock and baseline of your waters, for now and for the future. So I don't think I'm supposed to announce, but our hope is that the ship will return to these waters this year, which would be wonderful. And I would encourage everyone to come join us at the dockside, see the vessel, take a tour. I encourage the scientists to come along, and I encourage the citizens of the community to come and visit and meet the local experts, the young people, who in Timor are leading the charge and will lead the protection of this will be your country and it is your country, and you will lead in the protection of it. And we encourage you to join us to see the vessel in operation when it comes back again. And let's do some things together to show off the beauty of the water and to help encourage education and protection of Timorese water. With that, I say thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pierrebon. Our next speakers will present their findings and insights from mapping Timor-Leste's ocean environment and how this information will support the implementation of Blue Economy Initiative in Timor-Leste. Dr. Erin Heffron is the Mapping and Geospatial Coordinator for OceanX. She brings more than 20 years of experience in ocean mapping. Her expertise covers sonar data acquisition and subsea navigation, alongside geospatial analysis and GIS. With a background in geology and advanced training in ocean mapping, she supports expedition planning and survey operations, as well as marine data processing and management. Dr. Kailani Acosta is a Science Program Associate at OceanX, focusing on ocean biogeochemistry, expedition planning, and high seas science frameworks. She holds a PhD in biological oceanography from Columbia University's Lamont Doherty Earth Observatory and a Bachelor of Science or Bachelor in Environmental Science from Brown University. Her work includes biogeochemical research, high seas MPA science under BBNJ, and UN Ocean Decade endorsed early career and shipboard program. She also serves as an early career liaison for the U.S. National Committee for the UN Ocean Decade. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Erin Hefford and Dr. Kailani Acosta. They'll be joining us on right.
We're still connecting to the audio right now, so can you hold for a bit?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, you just now.
Okay, great. Thanks so much. And I'm not turning on my camera because of the connection, but thank you all so much for being here. We're excited to be talking to you about mapping and oceanography from our 2025 mission. So my name is Kailani Acosta. I'm on the OceanX science team, and I'm a biological oceanographer. And I am talking to you all from New York. And I'm joined by Erin Heffron, who's our mapping and geospatial coordinator, who's an expert on all things bathymetry, and she is in Hawaii. So we're going to chat about mapping and understanding Timor-Leste's ocean environment, and specifically talking about bathymetry and oceanography. All right, next. So, in general, OceanX expeditions aim to study unexplored areas of the world's oceans with local experts to map and collect data on environmental characteristics of the water column and seafloor. So, in order to do that, we focus on two: oceanography, and so oceanography covers biology, chemistry, physics, and microbes, all of the living and non-living pieces of water column that work together to try to understand the ocean as a whole. And acoustics covers both the seafloor itself, the water column, and below the seafloor. So in order to do that, we use multi-beam echo sounders, split beam echo sounders, acoustic Doppler current profilers, and sub-bottom measurements in order to learn more about these things. And Erin will tell you more about that in the next few slides. All right, next slide.
Okay, so thanks, Kailani. Getting right into it, we're going to start with bathymetry is a shape in the topography of the seafloor, and it really is the base data set and underlying data set that impacts pretty much every biological and oceanographic process in the ocean. It is the base data for everything. We do have estimates of what seafloor bathymetry looks like globally that are done from satellites, and you'll see some examples of that in later images. But only about 28, 29% of our seafloor has actually been mapped with direct measurements. It's more unknown than Mars. Most of the maps you see in things like Google are all from estimated bathymetry, and very little of that has been directly measured. We do know that bathymetry controls a lot of things about biological diversity. We know that seamounts and canyons and pretty much any topography on the seafloor can be an attractor for life. And that's something that I think is well known by fishermen for millennia, but that we as scientists also realize is happening. And so we know that when we see features that we're likely to find something there. The seafloor terrain also drives upwelling, mixing, and currents. So it is driving the global oceanography that Kailani is going to talk about. And the thing that I think probably people think about maybe most directly for bathymetry, if they think about it at all, and something that's important, but maybe not the primary reason that we collect this data for scientific purposes, bathymetry is vital for navigation. People think about it for ship navigation, but for our operations, it's vital for ROV and sub-navigation. We need to know what the seafloor looks like so that we don't run aground with our equipment, and in shallow waters so that ships also have safe passage.
So oceanography is a fundamental piece of what we do when we create expeditions. So oceanography is the study of the physical, chemical, and biological features of the ocean, including its past, present, and future. So this means that we try to understand how all of these pieces come together to shape our global ocean. So I'll try to turn on my video, if that works. And so in thinking of what defines biology, we often look to temperature, salinity, and oxygen and nutrients. So these factors shape water masses and also tell us where things can survive. We also think about currents, which are shown here in this map. So there are currents that connect the global ocean not only to other ocean basins, but to themselves. So there are large-scale currents throughout the entire ocean. And in order to understand what kinds of organisms can live in certain places, we have to think about what currents connect each of the ocean basins, how they move, and how they move pollutants as well. And these boundaries that are defined by currents and temperature and salinity create invisible walls that allow for mixing or not, depending on the makeup of each water mass. And altogether, these baselines detect changes over time and space. So we can see if there is warming or ocean acidification or deoxygenation with climate change. Next slide. So why do bathymetry and oceanography matter? Put together, they are the foundation of how we put together expeditions at OceanX and across science more broadly. So we think about both bathymetry and oceanography when it comes to target selection, choosing exactly where we want to study and how we want to study a place, because bathymetry helps us to identify features, and the oceanography is used to describe the conditions of this environment or region. We also use it to provide biological context for each sample that we collect. So every sample that we collect, if it's a biological sample, has chemical and physical and substrate level information connected to it as well. And also all of building larger scale monitoring. So our overall goal is to have large scale understandings of these systems that we study and repeat monitoring
Recording in
data.
progress.
The acoustics are floor and with and currents. So I'm sure Vincent might have touched on this a little bit about our methods and some of the things that we've done on this expedition. But to map the environment, we typically work with multi-beam echo sounders, which have a really wide swath, and use acoustics to get detection of the seafloor and tell us what the depth is, as well as information about the intensity. And we're going to turn off our camera. And targets here mean things like where they are in the water column. A sub-bottom profiler has this low frequency and so can penetrate the seafloor. And that gives us information about the layers that are underneath. And then finally, an ADCP, or acoustic Doppler current profiler, tracks positions of particles in the water column, and from really nice localized currents right where the ship is operating. So why is the bathymetry at Timor-Leste unique? As you guys probably know, you're in a really active part of the geologic world.
Can you pause for a moment?
Sure, I can pause.
Just got a message that
We apologize for the inconvenience. We're trying to reconnect again. As we're trying to fix the connection, let's move to our next agenda. We now move to our next session. We'll hear the perspective of a Timorese participant in the exposition, Mr. Agustinho Rodriguez of the National Petroleum Authority. Agustinho Rodriguez is an environmental inspection and investigation officer at Timor-Leste's National Authority of Petroleum. A Fulbright scholar, he holds a master's degree in Geographic Information Science from the State University of New York at Albany and specializes in GIS, remote sensing, environmental assessment, and geospatial modeling. His work applies spatial technologies to biodiversity conservation, marine monitoring, land use planning, and energy development. He has held GIS and environmental roles across government, international consulting, the Asia Foundation, and academia, and has taught geology and petroleum studies at UNTL. Mr. Rodriguez, we would love to hear about your experience, what you learned, and how you can encourage greater Timorese participation in marine scientific research. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Agustinho Rodriguez.
Diak ulukan na inhaw niya respeito ba Sua Excelência Primeiro Ministro Karel Sarnegusmau, niya respeito ba leader sirahotu iha salay dane no audiência sirahotu. Hanesan Timor how preparahan desculpa preparahan slide nene uja English ma how kule uja tetu atunune ita iha salay ne bele entende hot hodiak nega how Hetan oportunidade atu join OceanX ba halo iten ini pesquisa iha iten itasi parte norte durante semana runelaran aneson ohi introdução katak how nenia especialidade iha GIS ba mapamento idane makau hetan oportunidade idane tu irmai next please. Tirma how se kule kono ba parte tolu how nini experience nebe ke how join OceanX saida mak how aprende no importância da maka Timor-Leste precisa halo atu nebele promove itenia recursos ihatasi no ikusliu maka ita uisa iteni prioridade atu pesquisa e futuro idane maka parte importante nebe hausi kolia orsida. Next please. Next. Iane hawa tutu doit katak imagem idan he parte itabot sirne dia limang karuk ane haturu sala OceanX nian kona ba mapeamento batimetria sira iha teknologi nebe avanço teves hau serviço hamutu ko sira durante semana rua atu hatene date kona ba itaninia tasiokos iha parte norte Timor ohin ita hareona sira ninia haturu mapeamento ita halo mapeamento hosi parte westenian to ilikisa no parte estenian to iha Los Palos ni sore ituang depois ita avança haleu iha ata ilha de Atauro durante semana rua nelaran imagem ida sorin ita botsina parte limalos ne expert na rua nebe que mi serviço mutu ka ajuda how hosu perguntas barak teves atu ho intenção hatenet konaba itanine condição tasiokos de Timor atu clarificare ba ita iha ne katak itania parte parte norte hosi ilha de Atauro ne cliente teves nine profundidade ne to é 3.5 3 kilo e tal 3.500 metros e tal bahia okos quando ita hambrik iha parte subaun ne inclinação macas teves ou parte Atauro inclinação macas teves ita bot sare iha cor nebe purple ne are nebe ke clean liu teves clean teves no hi are naba ne iha flat itu anghasan tetu kansa indikação ne tetu iha dili ho Atauro ne clarang ne isira bolu de sea mountain ide naba então haturu mos itene estrutura bosere ne hoto agora imagem ide so Go back to the previous slide, please. Okay, dia ita avança ba iha além de how heta oportunidade de aprender Vincent Rassigmos a minha sala ne haus perguntas barak basira para explicar sistema ne hamos iha a oportunidade de aprender litan kona ba uisa hatene itaninia condição tasi que tasi betasi ne hanusta então hare imagine segundo se tu limang karuk how equipamentos na base de bolen city atu halo sukat kona ba conductividade temperatura no ninia tasi nuclear quando equipamentos ne hatun então nia começa fauna imagem fauna hasan a profiling baita atu ita tene tasi ninia condição a imagem ba haturu how mag be foti hela sample be iha imagem selfie ba cientista na ida hosi Australia na dua selo hosi na ida hosi US na dua selo hosi Australia ami halo how observa sir halo análise ba be na be iha depois ba iha ikusliu imagem ne halo colação ba be sample ser ne be que ita halo processo tiana então li hosi ida ne how aprende tamba ita hansa o introduz itamos serviço iha autoridade ba oil and gas então itamos precisa hatene condutividade operador sira precisa hare hotu mola operador ida bahalo sira nenia exploração ita nenia tasnimor next please ida nene how tecnicamente sala ida nene furak teves sala aerovinian hasohim Vincent Colia remote operation vehicles nene equipamentos principais nebe que sir hatu batasi okos atu observa itania condição tasir okos ao mesmo tempo de observa siramos foti sample nebe que cientistas se hanese tu sir hare iha itu ne limang karuk sira nabane si hambrik serne cientista sira haturu amostra nebe que dia pasira tu halo analisa depois sirne bahia wet lab nene laboratório nebe que cientista sira hamutu ku Timor wan lubukida hosi universidade ita serviço mutu ko sira atu hili amostra nebe diak ita tahu peki depois tahu química preserva diak atu ne bala iha analisa laboratorium nian. Atu highlight mos katak take away dos nen ROV nene importante tebes ba atu hatena ita ninia condição tasi iha industria best practice quando iha oil and gas operação rumah atu environment nene ROV maksai ita relay makas ba ROV atu hatena ita ninia condição iha tasi okos. Next please. Nudar Timoruan haune perspektiva katak iha parte hat nebe ke ita atu investe hodi atu ne atu asa ite ni conhecimento ba hatene parte marenyo hanesang ohi ita hosi alambio apresenta ona ita iha 10 years plano ba iha be tasinin nebe ke establece ona interesado tebes ita iha una decreto lei nebe koleo kona ba MSP Marine Spatial Planning durante ti semana rua nebe hau ho OceanX amos toka ituan kon ba Marine Spatial Ocean Planning ida nene ita tu halo mapamento ida ba ita nena tas Timor ita tu defini katak recursos tasi hansan coral reef nebe amam barua ron ini dalang atau layus nebe estabelecimento ba força naval sining nebe ida ne tama hotu ha MSP nyang nebe importante tebes nebe enforça ita ne plano nene importante tebes ba iha a desenvolvimento ba iha setor asaoin itania abonana coleona katak atu hasa itania blue economy ita mos iha interessado foi em license junho ita sua excelência primeiro ministro lança ona blue economy website afir ita kontami website ita hare buat mesa furfura great kono ba ita netasi ba ida atu hasaitan itania website ne ita update na fating ne mo siya sa kapasitasaong ato ne mabarak bel hatene kono ba ita niya recurso tasi. E parte seluk cientista ho universidade siram sa sa tarjeto principal ato ne ita bel sa kapasitasaong ba emene conhecimento batasi. Tuir hau niya conhecimento tuir hau niya universidade ne be que estabelece ciência marinha agora maka Wentel amigos ho docente lubukida ho professor estudante ne participa tu ya expedição OceanX ne durante semana rua si ita aprende buat lubukida nebe itamos iha decreto lei nebe que estabelece kona ba pesquisa ciência marinha nebe importante tebes atu hasai capacitação cherne e parte selo cansa hina kolia atu estabelece MSP nebe iha leten Marine Spatial Planning ita precisa hasai kapasitação técnico e a pesquisa GIS tian halo analisa lili by spatial analysis nen. E parte seluk sociedade civil ita tene sociedade civil serviço basic ho comunidade ho itene então ita mos bele hasai ita knowledge sharing ba siratu hatene kona ba recursos tasinian. Ba ia sociedade ia Timor ia sociedade barak nebe que hela ia parte costeira se depende máximo ba ia recursos tasi ba hatu muda ser namoris então simos precisa ite precisa promove sene conhecimento sene educação kono ba ite recursos tasi nebe que ia ona. Next please. Ini hau toka ituan ita bot sira hare iha poligon miang irma poligon miang he parte norte ida ne mak are ne bekke OceanX hal mapamento tiana OceanX hal mapamento tiana ite iha ia linha poligon ne bekke parte sul no parte oeste e parte kusiniang mas atu clarifica kata poligon kinurida nene la representa itenia limite boundary by Timor niang tamba dadus ne ha foti hosi online sources nebe how tahu ya legenda ba la representa legal boundary by Timor mabe atu clarifica ka parte norte parte sul de Timor tenemos bela sainsan área ba pesquisa futuro iha oimai. Saída maka ita precisa halo, ita precisa hetan dados neve baraktan atne ita preserva ita nenia tas Timor ne de diakleo. Ita quando hatene ita recurso Timor mag diakleo. Então ita intenção boa tebes ita interessado boa tebes loke ita Timoruan hotu ni Hanoi atau preserva ita na tase. A parte seluk mos vai oportunidade ita contente tebes sa ohen Vicente dehang kata oportunidade quando bototu dia que sirbel presença ali Timor iha tina gine nelara irne importante tebes atu ita sai participação timornian atu join OceanX. Faz oportunidade ba malu atu ne sirmos bele aprende kono ba ita recurso tasi ita nenia tasi okos nene halosa. E parte seluk interessado tebes maka ita precisa aumenta tan bahia parte environment ambiente nian atu hasaitan ita pesquisa atu hatena ba qualidade benian qualidade sedimentos tasiocos nian ita atu hatena precisa hatena nia composição física química ou biológica. Ne importante tebes atunune ita bela iha dados sira nebe ita bela trekking na fating ita nudar ita hoto kampanya nudar Timoruang ita Timor iha mehibo tebes atu desenvolve setor lubukira nebe ita hetang dados sira hasnene importante lah lima atune ita bela iha baseline ida atu harekata ita ni ambiente nene manteng na fatinga ou iha mudança depois de ita halo ita nina atividade ida. Ida nema kau nina apresentação, hausu com licença, não obrigado wain.
Thank you very much, Mr. Agustinho Rodriguez. We have been informed by the IT, apparently, due to high number of people are sharing hotspot. If you are currently turning on your hotspot, it interferes with the connection on the Starlink to connect to our speakers. How explico tetundet? Tamba itabarak loke hela conexão hotspot, karik alguém estudante sira, e me share o colega sira hotspot, interfere e tuang ho conexão. Tamane, sebele karik durante itani Zoom meeting, studante sirnebe makloke hotspot sherba colega sir itatakale. Ok? Dali datang aling studante sira. Tamba foi check a conexão, hotspot nini número asliu conexão internet. Bele usa internet normal, hotspot makitatakale. And now, to wrap up the presentation beforehand with Dr. Acosta and also just joining us online, I would like to welcome back Dr. Vincent to do a quick wrap-up of the presentation. Dr. Vincent, time is yours. Ita si wrap-up na besialo si Dr. Vincent para ho di continuare a presentação ohing online. Okay, one moment, sure.
Sorry about that. We brought the presentation over. I'll just walk through it. Those poor people are sitting around and all over the world waiting to talk, but the internet connection is not treating us nicely. So I'm going to quickly go through what was the major findings that they were going to present. Just a couple of slides, but give you an idea of the flavor of what we saw. I think they're going to put it up here in a minute. So what you'll see is mapping. You'll see the oceanography. You'll see all this data. But as I mentioned, a lot of this, which now resides here in the country, requires kind of expert analysis and more work. And that is really what's ongoing. It takes, like I said, years to see this data come to light. And what you saw also on the map that it showed, Amato just showed you, there are large regions of your water that have yet to be mapped and yet to be studied. So hopefully in the future we'll be able to come back and finish that. The mapping in this area was particularly difficult, not particularly difficult, but when it's shallow, it's actually much more work. When you're deeper, you can map larger swaths of ocean. So what we could do in the south, where it's much deeper, we could map a much larger portion of the of your EZ in a shorter period of time. Are we live yet? No, still loading. Apologies for this. What I would say is that we organized this expedition. We had a very brief period of time in our schedule that was free, that became free very late in the year. I immediately talked to our team and I said, my heart wants to take us to Timor-Leste. Can we do this in such a short time? Normally, these expeditions last longer and take a year or so to develop. But we reached out to the government, and thanks to the wonderful support, we were able to undertake this short expedition as a bit of a test expedition, but in a short period of time. Hopefully the next one will have a little more time to develop exactly what we do together and bring the scientists both locally and from overseas to come and work here. This is me just filling space. I could tell jokes now about, funny thing happened in the United States. I just left the U.S. a day and a half ago to come here, which is, I can't extol enough the virtues of having a leader like you have for your country. So, congratulations. And keep democracy alive and well in your country. It's obviously vital. So, congratulations on that. Nothing yet, huh? No. Here we go. Getting closer. So after this, after Timor, I'll travel to Palau, where they're having the Pacific Island Forum, which is all the Pacific Islands. We're going to be talking there. We just finished an expedition in Palau, which is also very beautiful and very nice. Bravo. Thank you. Here we go. So we're not going to go through all the gory details of the science, but I did want to talk a little bit about the different types of stuff that we collected here in the waters and where it will lead and why it's important. So on the left is something we call multi-beam echo sounders. This is a piece of equipment on the ship, which is remarkable, really. It is a sensor that sends out around 500 beams of sound, very focused beams of sound, to the bottom of the ocean floor. Unless you're directly under the vessel, you could barely hear these. These beams go down and they reflect off the ocean floor, sound. But they create a kind of a swath underneath the boat, basically a line of depth differences. And then that, as the vehicle moves across, it produces these kind of 3D relief maps, which look like terrain maps on the shore. So we did the detailed mapping, and there we'll show a little bit of that. And that also allows us to put our vehicles in the water and go down without them, knowing where they're going, finding spots where we can go to. That's an enormous piece of real estate that's shown there. The other ones are split beam echo sounders, and these are things which track biological communities in the water column. So it's a different set of sonars, and those sonars look at life that exists in the water column. So what you can see actually on that picture is the green material there is probably fish. It picks up the swim bladders of fish, so you can see populations of fish moving through the column. You can also pick up the large diurnal migration of organisms. The final thing that we used over here was something called a sub-bottom profile. That's a different sonar system that allows the sonar to penetrate the ocean floor and gives you information about what's beneath the ocean floor. So that's interesting in terms of minerals, in terms of petroleum deposits, things like that. So that data was also collected. And finally is this very interesting piece of equipment called an acoustic Doppler current profiler. An acoustic Doppler current profiler is also a sonar system, but that sonar system allows you to determine water movement under the ship. it shows how water moves underneath the ship. So we took these measurements throughout your area. So there's a tremendous amount of information about how water is moving in the deep ocean. You know the shallow is easy to see as currents, but underwater things can move in different directions. Next slide. So all of this data was collected through this entire area. Next. Let's see if we go. Okay. So why is it so unique, the bathymetry of this area? So what you're seeing there is Timor, you're seeing the Timor Trough, you're seeing the Wetar Thrust, and you're seeing the area in between. And your country lies in the middle of a very important area. It's a collision of the Australian plate, as I'm sure you're all aware, and the Eurasian plate and the Banda volcanic ridge. That's what makes this area so volcanically active. The south coast is a subduction trough and an excretatory prism. Rock and sediment scraping off the subduction plain is the Timor Trough. You have some of the deepest water in the world in the south of this area and south of Java. The north coast, the back arch, is a thinned and stretched plate forming a deep Wetar basin, which is what you have between Timor and the island chains of Indonesia and Aurora Island. So it's a very robust area, very unique to have shallow and deep water all represented, and lots of water flow. And lots of water flow means a lot of life, which helps explain why there's so much life in this area. Next slide. So this purple area is the area that we covered with our multi-beam in your waters. So essentially map the entire north shore of all of your EEZ. Everything around Arturo Island all the way to Dili, and everything all the way east. Everything that's pink in that area now has high-resolution multi-beam mapping, which is available. It's about 6.5%, though, believe it or not, of your EEZ, because most of your EEZ, as you know, exists in the southern part of the island. So that large area on the bottom is not yet mapped, largely not mapped. There's some small portions. We have a proposal into the government at the moment to return and map that entire area for you, so you have your entire EEZ mapped. There's also, as you know, right? That'd be great, right? It's actually, believe it or not, because of the difference in depth, it's easier for our ship to map deeper water because the beam spreads out as you go deeper. So we could map, in the same period of time it took to map that purple area, we could map this entire area in a matter of a few weeks. So we'd have maps for you of all that. Also, as you're well aware, there's a portion of your EEZ that extends into the western part of the island, and that could also be easily mapped, as well as any of the areas in the west. So that is up to the government to approve for that in the future. But so far, we've only done 6.5%, but it's 3,000 plus kilometers of the water column. So in that area, it's quite deep, right? So it's special sonar systems that are capable of doing that measurement. And we collected about 1,700 kilometers of sub-bottom profilers. So for those in the audience that are interested in the geology and the geochemistry of the area, there's a lot of information in that data, and we'd be glad to work with you. All that data is in the hands of the government now. Next slide. So you still have a large part of your EEZ that could still be mapped, which we'd be glad to provide in the future. Oh, here comes the next one. Great. There it is. So newly mapped areas are shown on here. There's about 3,600 square kilometers of newly mapped, adding coverage to 6 planned or existing MPAs. So the planned or existing marine protected areas in your country are marked as those orange boxes. And the areas that were mapped, you see the color relief of the various areas. It's difficult to see in the picture, but the shallow waters are in one color, and as you get deeper, they get deeper. And that difference is around 3,000 feet. It's about 3 kilometers depth out there in the water. And the whales, as you know, move through this area here. Post-processed data, full resolution data, will be available soon. The full resolution that we processed of this will be available in December from us to give over to the government. All the raw data has already been provided. And we will contribute whatever you allow us to contribute, if you request it, to the JEBCO and the 30 by 30 database that exists in the world. So that's really up to your government to decide what would like to make available. Next slide. Oh, slow. It's moving. Oh, there we go. So this is a better map of the area, a better color-coded map of it, showing you a couple of things. One is, on the top is depth in color, as I mentioned. So the lighter is sort of being the light pink all the way down to the deep, which, as you can see, is 3,390 meters in that area. Quite deep and very close to shore. Between Dili and Arturo, there's areas just east of it that are quite deep, which is very deep. Most countries do not have that. The U.S. has very little of that water in its EEZ, that depth, to be honest with you. Most of it is 1,000, 2,000 meters. Another very interesting part of this is on the bottom, the data is presented in a slightly different way. What we do is we take, as it's going down the shore, we color code those parts of the map where the slope is the highest. What that means is the sharpest drop-off. So what you see in that area, from red to pink, are drop-offs. So there's some very significant cliffs and drop-offs in there, which is where you find all the life. This is the kind of work that we do in order to go down and look for where life might exist. Next slide. It's between 30 and 3,400 meters of depth. So quite a depth. I don't know if this is probably a video, right? We probably shouldn't run that. Let's skip that. Unfortunately, maybe we'll get it together for the afternoon and show it to you. Yeah. These are really cool fly-through videos. I'm sorry they're not running. But so, for example, from the insights from the bathymetry are the fact that you find spots. For example, in the color-coded there is how the map looks. And we picked locations. Those little lines there are where the ROV goes down. So these are vast areas of ocean that we did not observe, but we have to pick areas that we're going to send the ROV. And those little spots are where we went down with the ROV and sampled. So it's only a tiny fraction of this area that we actually visited. And look, lo and behold, what sits down in the deep depths of your water. Now, you have thousands of species of corals in your shallow water. Some of those are in the mesophotic, but not all of them. There are new ones in the mesophotic. There's an equivalent level of diversity in the mesophotic and the deep reef as there is in the shallow reef, and many of them are different species. So a lot of what you see down at depth, you don't see in shallow. So a whole different life down in the deep. Next slide. That's an ROV dive, and that's a second ROV dive. So you're only covering a very small part of the area with the ROVs. Oh boy. So this is a really cool picture. This is a picture from the midwater sonar systems. And what this shows is, if you look there from the top is the surface of the water, and down below all of these lines are the seafloor, and in it you see this area here. I'm going to walk over. Plankton, fish, all the things in the deep water that are necessary to sustain life in your water column. Tons of stuff in the water column here that keep everybody happy, including the whales, which feed on the material that we see in the shallow water. I got to keep going quickly, unfortunately. I can talk too much. Next one. Oh, then I can walk. Yeah, there we go. I can walk. Thank you. I can move around a little bit. I can't talk too much longer. They're cutting me off and yelling at me. Okay. So why is this interesting and important? To tell you that what you have in your waters is something called an upwelling. I love this guy. When you have these mountains and these rises in your water column, you have water moving along and hits it, and there's a lot of nutrient in the deep, and that brings nutrient to the shallow water. And that's the nutrient that whales love, that the corals love, that the fish love. That's why you have fishing grounds in the area. So all of the nutrient material that's on these seamounts in these areas is part of the migratory plan that goes upwards and which feeds the shallow water reef and communities. So if there's damage, the fisheries are impacted by that, which is why the deep connectivity is very important. Next slide. No more. She's telling me no more slides. That's it. She's a runner. You don't want to hear this anymore. Anyways, last picture. Beautiful. Could go on for hours. We'll leave the presentation. Beautiful. Thank you. Look at that. I could go on for hours about the science. It's very cool. We have someone coming up next. That's why I'm out? No. Lunch. Oh, I don't want to stand between us and lunch. We can talk at lunch. Thank you all. Sorry about that.
Thank you very much. Excelência Sira, bele turla laisla, desse a apresentação da saída. Thank you very much, Dr. Vincent. And before we break for our lunch, let's welcome back Les Yaval Dance Group for another cultural dance performance. Então, may tawasaliwan hodisimu filofali Les Yaval. Where we cover Hali. Another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Obrigado, hein? Ba grupo dança rua lezeval no wewi kuehali. Ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, it is now our time for lunch. We hope you enjoy. Once again, for our members of government, diplomatic corps and speakers, lunch is at the back. Ba participantes sira hototo, estudantes sira, na fating itaninia lunch provided here. Please also enjoy coffee at the coffee garden after your lunch. Bon appetit. We'll see you again at 2 p.m. Itasormalu tukurua. Obrigado.
Dores Radio Televisão Timor-Leste, idanemak simpósio nebe ita hoto acompanha ona, hahusi início toramata. Usi simpósio ne, objetivo principal, maka simpósio ne, sehari resultado científico hirak nebe, bele aplica ba prática, hori apoio economia azul Timor-Leste ninian. Nomos apoio economia Timor-Leste ninian ba futuro. Tamane telespectadores Radio Televisão Timor-Leste, labele haksume kang usi canal RTT linian, hori acompanha informação seluk, depois de se fila fala mais segmentos terceiro ninian. Obrigado.